how you doing? Welcome to the Koinonia Surf Cafe. You can check out the surfboards here. And we are really unique here in Okinawa in that we have our cafe, but it's also our surf cafe. So we like two things here in Okinawa. We love surfing and we love our coffee. And you know, surfing and coffee are kind of the same thing in this way, that a surfer is always looking for the perfect wave, but also a good coffee connoisseur is always looking for the perfect cup of coffee. And once you get that perfect wave, you want another one. When you get that perfect cup of coffee, you want another one. So we're going to show you how to make the perfect Japanese pour over. Okay, so first of all, you have to start off with some really good equipment, and here you might notice that we have Hario equipment. Hario has been around since 1921 here in Japan, so they make the best glass equipment. They're known for their glass, Hario glass, but also at the same time there's other different types of units that you could use to make your pour over, but you really need to begin with the good pour over equipment, and Hario is really the standard for making a good pour over. This is one that's a metal dripper, and then we have a couple plastic drippers here, and we use the plastic drippers often because sometimes the other one's trying to drop them, so we don't want them to break. But first of all, when you begin with a pour over, you need to make sure that you have the right equipment. And here we have the Hario drip system, like I've said already a few times, but also it comes with their special filters. And you might notice that we have two different kind of filters at this time. We have the larger filters and we have the smaller filters here. And it really depends upon what size of a coffee you want to make. But I like to use the smaller dripper. It's just a lot funner just to kind of make your coffee here. Well, also very important when you make a perfect pour over, you have to have the right equipment in order to distribute the amount of water that you want to have. And you might notice that we have different type of Hario drippers here. We have the stainless steel ones, the aluminum ones, and also this special copper one that's really expensive. But they say that copper is really good for you, so we make it a importance to have the right type of water. So I like to use oftentimes this the copper pot. Okay, so it's ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start right now. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you properly wet down your filter. So we're only going to be using the small one here. So I'm going to go ahead and just water down one. And it's important in order to, first of all, rinse your filter to get rid of any of the paper taste or anything like that. And so you want to go ahead and make sure that you get rid of the water that's excess in there. Then at the same time, we want to go ahead and freshly grind our coffee right here. So while it's grinding, I want to point out a couple of things real quick to you. This is our pour over system that we made that's homemade. It's actually a piece of driftwood that we found. Well, I found while I was surfing. I don't know how long it was out in the water, but it's been there for quite a long time, and we designed it into our own special type of drip system here. All right, so once you get your coffee, we go ahead and measure it out, and really by your preference of measure. And again, this is something that you do on your own as your own preference, and it's really important to practice with your pour overs in order to make the perfect one that you like, right? Okay, very important. The first thing you want to do is you want to allow for emulsion. So you go ahead and start by wetting the coffee, and if you pull in really quick here, you notice that the coffee begins to bloom. And when it begins to bloom, it's actually releasing some of the gases within the coffee that if you don't do this, the coffee doesn't stick actually and be able to filter correctly the way it's supposed to. So you wait anywhere between 20 to 30 seconds, and then you begin your second part of your drip pour over, which is very important. So if you notice at this point, the gas has already gone out of it, and we're going to start our second step. So the first step is going ahead and wetting the coffee, making sure that it blooms. Then if you come over, you can come a little closer if you'd like. We go ahead and start, and we want to make sure that we don't put too much water, and we want to make sure that the coffee is going to all get exposed to the correct amount of water. Some guys continue just to pour in one motion, but I usually begin by getting it started by just adding a little bit of water, and then beginning here, starting with a little small rotation, allowing the coffee to get wet, and it's beginning from inside here to allow the coffee to already drain through. But you want to make sure you keep small motion here and allowing the coffee just to continue to be filled. And this is step 2. So about this point, you allow it to go ahead and drain through. And then this is a very important step. Some of the people don't actually do this, but I think it's important in order to get the coffee that is on the top 2. We'll start in our second or our third part. And if you notice, we'll start with the round circular motion. The coffee begins to turn a different color, a lighter color. And you never ever go all the way to the end, because if you wash out the end of the filter, you begin to just wash out in the bitterness of the coffee into the actual cup, and you don't want to do that. So you start with your circular motion, it gets wider, and then you'll bring it down again small, but you never go all the way to the end because you don't want to get that bitterness there. All right, here we go, and it's about to finish off here. And you make sure that the coffee is being drained just perfectly in order for it to give you the maximum taste. Well, while that's draining, let me show you a little bit over here some of our other Hario equipment that we have. There's some of them are antiques. We have here the Hario. It's kind of like a phone grinder. It's really, they're very unique. There's not very many of those in the world right now. I've only seen another one here in Japan. And here's another older Hario grinder. And then this one pretty much is our pride and joy we always talk about. This is a Hario roaster. And this thing's really expensive. These things are just incredible, really expensive. So, all right, we come to the end here. And if you notice, our coffee has already been extracted from inside. And this cup is ready to go. So we come over here, we got our coffee cup ready, and it's time to taste. Let's see how it tastes. Delicious, all right? Okinawan Japanese pour over coffee, the best.